Very good afternoon. We are very honored to welcome Dr. Janelle Puthucheary, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Communications and Information as our guest of honor today. Ms. Chan Lai Fang, Permanent Secretary Education, Ministry of Education, and Chairperson, NIE Council. Mr. Wong Siu Hung, Director General of Education, Ministry of Education. Mr. Lim Boon Hui, Deputy Secretary Services and Group Director, HR, Ministry of Education. Members of NIE Council, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. At this Teachers' Investiture ceremony, we have the privilege of presenting 163 beginning teachers from the Postgraduate Diploma in Education, Bachelor of Arts Education, Bachelor of Science Education, Bachelor of Education, and Diploma in Education, Physical Education, and Special Education programs. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to all our graduates, their families, and friends. This is a momentous day for all of you. And it is my pleasure to commend you for your hard work and strong commitment towards educating our future generation of students. Please join me in a round of applause to welcome our newest members of the teaching fraternity. In my previous TIC speeches, I touched on the calling, the care, and courage of teachers. Today I want to talk about another C, the character of the teacher. As a teacher, you will interact and meet with 40, 80, sometimes more than 100 students in a day. Each student to you may be just one of the 200 or so students that you teach in that moment. But to each of them, you are the one teacher who can have a profound impact on them, not just while they were in school, but perhaps for the rest of their lives. You know, when I consider what tremendous consequences that comes from little things, I am tempted to think that there are no little things in what teachers do. What you say and do can strongly influence every child that you meet. You know, it is hard to find another profession as great and as influential as teaching. So what characterizes you as a teacher? At NIE, we regard a teacher as someone who cares for the learners and students above all else. A teacher is someone who provides positive affirmation and hope to every student in their lifelong journey. A teacher is someone who can see what others do not see in a child. They look beneath a child's demeanor and appreciate the traits deep down. Very often you may come across a child who may be tardy, disfavored, and is thought to be somewhat rebellious and disrespectful. However, if you delve deeper, you will probably uncover that underlying reasons for such behavior. The student could be experiencing family issues, learning difficulties. A teacher must be able to see each child as a unique individual with different talents, strengths, and learning needs. Sometimes, due to our busy schedules, teachers find it hard to spend time and hold a good conversation with their students to understand the problems and the challenges they face. But regardless how busy we get, as full-fledged teachers, it is our duty to find time to cultivate our passion and care for each and every one of our students. As educators, we are not merely teachers of the subject, but rather a teacher of every student. The frequent contact we have with them provide ample opportunities for us to develop a special intuition to cater to the needs of each student. All these are only achievable if we remain committed to the ethos of our teaching profession, to lead, to care, to inspire. Being able to care requires extensive effort and time. Teachers are characterized by being patient and always giving hope. As custodians of our future generation, it is our responsibility to care for all students, regardless of their aptitude, race, socioeconomic backgrounds. In fact, for students with difficult backgrounds or learning deficiencies, all the more it requires our patience and to give them the hope and the strength to overcome their difficulties. If there is one thing to learn from your fellow teachers and more senior educators, it is their disposition and demonstration of the care and patience with helping the students that need more help. Look upon your fellow colleagues and seniors as role models. Kickstart your career with this positive note. Do remember that successful teachers teach from the heart and not just from the book. Learn to pick up positive characteristics that can inspire and care. I say this because students will remember you for how you make them feel long after the exams and the contents of your lessons. I've spoken to many students, and this is what they often tell me, that a good teacher is someone who believes in their students, care deeply, has high expectation, yet real and humorous, and always there to help. So what about you? What makes a good teacher? This was a question that some of my NIE researchers posed to our own student teachers when they came here on the various programs. The researchers asked them about their memories and their expectation of good teachers. I will share with you some of their quotes and distill from them qualities that I feel make teachers not just good, but memorable. May I suggest that you always have this attitude to pick something from fellow educators. And may I also suggest to you that in the course, each day, each week, would you pick a student that need a little bit more help? So as you all know my style, I like to give acronym because long after the ceremony, I don't know if you remember the speech. So I'm going to give you an acronym today too. And it's PICK, P-I-C-K. A good teacher is characterized by having, number one, that disposition to care, to have good pedagogical excellence. As the student teacher put it, you don't really need a teacher to teach content by merely reading to the students. Everybody can do that. Instead, the student teacher described, a quality teacher is someone who recognizes that there's always a better way to teach. He's always researching, always going through his materials, always updating, and improving his teaching materials over and over again. Good teachers are never satisfied with resting on their laurels. They are eager, perhaps to the point of being ambitious, of honing their pedagogical skills. These teachers are curious about how they can do better and what other teachers are doing so that they could innovate their teaching even better. They join professional learning communities within their schools, network learning communities across schools, always learning from each other, listening, learning, collecting ideas, and experimenting and sharing what they have done with their colleagues. Another research done by NIE researchers on professional learning communities also found that teachers who are more actively involved in learning communities also have a more positive impact on student learning outcomes. So what does this mean? It means that as a teacher, your learning do not end here. In fact, this is just the beginning. You'll be learning from your own experience, your fellow colleagues, your mentors, even your students. NIE will always be here for you. Next, I. I is for inspiring. Good teachers inspire disposition in the students. Many of you here are going to be physical education teachers. What you do can inspire important disposition, inspiring discipline that impact them for life, inspire self-reliance, inspire courage. We will always remember the one teacher who inspired us in the belief that we can be more than what we are at the present moment. So as the student-teacher sum up, a good teacher helps believe and sees the potential in the students. P-I, now C, right? C is for custodian. As teachers, we are all custodian of the moral, societal, and national values of Singapore. For us, values, character development, and national identity form the core of our educational goals. Schools are key players in nation building and educating our students to become responsible citizens. As Acting Minister for Education of Schools, Ng Chee Meng, said in a recent speech, developing a strong Singapore heartbeat is something our education system needs to do more. NIE is keenly aware of this, and to prepare teachers for this important role, we are introducing a course called the Singapore Kaleidoscope into our teacher education program. This course will draw on the diverse perspectives of people living in Singapore to examine Singapore's natural landscapes, society, culture, heritage, as well as Singapore's geopolitical landscape and future prospect. In the course, students will engage with different perspectives, experiences of Singapore through a range of different lenses and explore the critical challenges, issue, and perspective to understand Singapore as we move forward in this 21st century world. We hope our student teachers will share this appreciation of Singapore with their students in as many ways as possible. Singapore is an amazing little red dot if you make the effort to explore it. We often are impressed by remarkable rainforests in South America or Australia, but we too have a rich botanic treasure in our own backyard, the Singapore Botanic Gardens, which is now recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you are a science teacher, why not arouse your students' curiosity of appreciation of the diversity of the flora and fauna that we have right at our doorstep? In terms of the moral and societal values, our own research shows, and we are glad to find out that teachers still believe in strong anchoring traditional values, good moral ethics, appreciating diversity, being responsible for our families. In this complex and changing world, all the more, our new generation must grow up with strong anchors. Our national anchoring values are critical. So bring these values of life to your students every day. Show them what ethics look like in real life. They will learn and follow your footsteps. Finally, K. Well, K is for kudos. Kudos comes from actually a Greek word, praise. Great teachers are praise makers. If there's anything praiseworthy, things of honor, small breakthroughs that each student experiences, a beautiful essay that is written, things to be thankful for, good teachers cultivate a spirit of giving kudos to one another, celebrating all the little success. Great teachers always usher in an atmosphere of creative and celebrative energy. So, affirm your students, their efforts, their accomplishment. Your words of kudos will spur your students to even greater pursuit and enterprise. More kudos moments will bond teachers, students, and engage in the joy and excitement of discovery and learning together. Last year, I was involved in the World Innovation Summit for Education as a member of the international jury to select the 2015 Educational Laureate. We call it the WISE Laureate Award. It's established to recognize educators who brave challenges and create sustained impact for education in some of the most challenging areas of the world. When I looked through the final nominees and their projects, I was very deeply touched. The experience increased my awareness of how millions of children and youth in the world today are deprived of education, and many live in great poverty and at great risk. Perhaps the issue of poverty and deprivation is too remote and not so relevant to the teachers in Singapore today. But I'd like to draw an analogy to say that even in the most developed places, like Singapore, youth and children are also subjected to a different kind of poverty and deprivation. Never in recent history have our youth and children been exposed to so much risk, not just nutritional, but many students have the risk of being deprived of good holistic and emotional development. Maybe our students are exposed to technology and may appear to be tech savvy. They seem to have technology. Or is it the technology that have them? They seem to have Facebooks. But do they feel faceless? Are their identity defined just by how many likes? We need to cultivate in our students a rich sense of their personal identity. We need to cultivate their thinking ability. We need to create in them the sense of self-reliance, where they do not need to be spoon-fed. The ability to take on challenges. We want a generation that is not poor in courage, in enterprise. We talk about self-directed learning, confident learners. We need to make our students rich mentally, emotionally, psychologically. In such an educational landscape, your mission is to enrich the character of our students, design pedagogy innovatively to engage their being, inspire self-reliance and gratitude for the resources that we have, help them realize their talents and potential. Self-reliance means students are always willing, curious, confident enough to explore alternatives, take responsibility for their own action, constantly problem solve. Self-reliance means they know that they can make a difference to their own lives and the lives of others. In the 2015 Wise Prize Award, it was given to a wonderful lady named Dr. Sakina Yokobi. By the way, she gave away the entire prize to her mission, and the prize was US $500,000. Dr. Yokobi was honored for her vision in pioneering the work of the Afghan Institute of Learning. Fondly known as Afghanistan Mother of Education, the 65-year-old lady spent the past 2 decades tirelessly to rebuild her country's educational landscape devastated by decades of war. Even during the Taliban rule and threats in the 1990s, it did not deter Dr. Yokobi from her mission to provide education and health services to the many women and children. And her primary objective was to reach out to teachers, to reach out to many. The Afghan teacher training programs focus on providing quality, in-depth education in the Pakistan and Afghanistan region. And once the teachers are trained, they move out to impact even others. As a result, her mission has touched the lives of some 12 million beneficiaries living in the most rural and marginalized areas of Afghanistan. I had several conversations with Dr. Yokobi. In spite of helping millions of people, she spoke as if each child were her own. And the countless stories that I hear from her, she has this connection to every individual child. For Dr. Yokobi, educating a child really means caring for the child's total well-being. In Dr. Yokobi, we see the character and the spirit of a true teacher. Aspire to possess the character and spirit of a true teacher as you begin your learning journey today. Thank you.